So the question to you is, as an individual solopreneur, at what point was it that you said, right, I need to get a team in and I'm going to build that team? How did you get to that inflection point?
I wish I could say it was strategic. It was more of a need than a want.
Yeah.
Within 6 weeks of me starting Clout, I was oversubscribed. So I didn't have the capacity to help more clients. So I needed to hire someone. Doing this again, I'm not going to hire anyone until we've got our system down pat.
Yeah.
So, I think something that you could think about is like, number one, building that methodology. So you said about reverse engineering, write all the outcomes that people want, and then just build a pathway for them for every single one, right? That's step number one. But step number two is then how many of that do you need to sell for you to have enough cash in the bank to be able to hire someone to train them on it? And that was something that I was told like very early on with Clout by someone who was my mentor. They said, make sure you've got, like, of course, 6 months runway for you, but also make sure you've got 6 months runway for someone else if you want to hire them. Because even if they don't work out, which I hate to say, like 30-40% sometimes, particularly in sales, it's higher,
Yeah.
won't work out. So you need to have that buffer in there to make sure that if it isn't going to work out, then like, what are you going to do about it? And I think there's a final piece here as well, Neil, is like outsource stuff at the start.
Yeah.
Like, this, I'm sure you've heard of iClosed. Like we're obsessed with iClosed now. Like it's changed the game for us in terms of like how we're creating sales calls and qualifying people in, disqualifying people out, still giving them value, regardless of whatever the outcome is.
Yeah.
But I think having that methodology down is the most important thing. And once you started implementing that and you're getting paid to implement that, you're going to have enough cash to be able to hire that person.
Yeah.
So, like, this sounds really, really silly, but the best advice I was given recently, someone said, you know where you are and you know where you want to be. Don't worry about what happens in between. So, the next step for you is to create this methodology. Because once that methodology is created and you've sold it and you've
Yeah.
proven that it works, you're going to have that, you then just scale that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know
100%.
that sounds ridiculous, but like
No,
if
no,
you're
no.
selling loads of those, let's say hypothetically your full in package sales training like program, which lasts for 6 months, like, I don't know, it's valid for 6 months and people can train up to however many people. I don't know how you price stuff up, but like whatever. And it's 10 grand, right? Let's say you sell 5 of those a month. That's 50 grand a month. So 50 grand a month times six, you're going to have more than enough cash in the bank to hire someone to help you. And then the next hire person that you hire is maybe solely focused on doing outbound for you. And then the next person that you hire then becomes another version of the first person that you hired. And then you can create that scale. The only advice that I would give you though is make sure that you think about management layers early on, because that was a mistake that I made. I just grew. I just hired where I needed. And then I ended up managing like 17, 18 people and I burnt out and I was a shit manager and I just couldn't stay on top of everything. So think about like, actually, yes, great, you need bums on seats to start with, but as the business grows, let's say 12 months from now, who else do you need in the team to make sure that operation this all runs? You're going to need an ops person. You're probably going to need an assistant. You're probably going to need someone who's focused on marketing and creating collateral and like building lead magnets and like all of this kind of stuff. You're of course going to need these account managers, or you could call them like heads of sales or something sexy, like, Alex at acquisition.com. I think they're called like head of finance or like finance director or sales director or whatever. They're like 25-year-old kids, but they're
Mm.
all trained on this methodology. So they can implement it. And then you can just wheel yourself in at the beginning of the pitch and wheel yourself in as like a check-in afterwards and be like, hey guys, like I heard it went really well with the team. Like, how's it going? Which is
Yeah.
what we now do with the group workshops. And it works so well because people still feel like they're getting that value from you, but it's actually being implemented by someone else.
I love that. Thank you so much. I can see those things. So yeah, you're right. The methodology is what I need to define first and then have that priced and packaged